So today we'll talk about drafting CVs and job applications. Simply put, we'll discover what CVs are and what are its types, and why it is an important part of job applications along with the cover letter. So, just to understand why we are doing this, we must know that CV is the first chance you get to make a good impression on a potential employer. So, a top quality CV will boost your chance of getting a face to face interview. So, it is worth spending time and effort on the content and the presentation. It will make all the difference in obtaining the position you want because of the several applications that the employer receives. If your job CV stands out, you will make a difference and you will get selected considering so many applicants. So, writing a terrific cover letter also can set you apart, which you should definitely include in your CV or job application. So, let us discover what. So, the origin of the word CV is from a Latin word curriculum vitae, which means your story of your life. So, the story of your life in terms of your education, in terms of your professional experiences, and whatever extra curricular or extra skills that you have acquired over the period of time or have been involved in becomes a part of your curriculum vitae or your CV. Now, CV as a definition is a summary of a job applicant's professional experience, one, second, their educational background, along with other relevant information regarding the candidate's qualifications. And where is it sent? It is sent to prospective employers when looking for a new job. So curriculum vitae is similar to a resume. We must be able to differentiate between it. It is similar to a resume, but it is used more frequently by candidates who have published works in journals such as scientists or academic professionals. So now we'll take up a CV further. So we've already discussed why we draft a CV and in the process of a job application. Now let us look at these 5 points and understand what is the purpose of a CV, both for the employer as well as the candidate. So first is they are your first and only direct communication with a potential employer. So when you send out a CV via an email or physically, you understand that that is your only face-to-face kind of communication with a potential employer, as it gives a detailed profile of who you are and what you are as a professional. Second, it is for a potential employer looks at your resume, they should be able to quickly gain a clear indication of your experiences and potential. So like we said, it is a direct communication of your profile. So your profile will indicate your experiences and potential if the resume or the CV is made in a extremely clear, concise manner. So your CV, the purpose is to make your this history of your life or the story of your life in a very concise manner. A CV is there to win you an interview. So once you're selected, once your CV stands out amongst the umpteen number of applications that have been received by the employer, you win an interview by receiving a call or an email. Fourth, it helps you identify your professional strength and weaknesses. Now, this is important because this is with respect to your skills, your work experiences, and your qualifications. So, what happens is when you jot down your strengths and weaknesses in terms of your past experiences and qualifications, you are able to decipher how and what shape you want to give your career further. So, it like the fifth point says, it helps you set an agenda for your professional future. So when you understand that these are your strengths and weaknesses, you are quickly able to divert your or channelize your time into developing certain other skills and uh, working on them accordingly in order to provide for your professional future. Now look at the four types of CVs that are generally made by candidates suiting various job requirements. Now, to quickly have an overview, The first is chronological CV, also called a chronological resume. Second is a functional CV, also called a functional resume. Third is a combinational CV, also called combinational resume. And fourth is targeted CV, also called targeted resume. Now, combinational resume, just to tell you, is a combination of 1 and 2, which is chronological and functional CV. Now, let us take them up individually. Chronological CV, by definition, is listing your work and other experiences in reverse chronological order. You must understand that reverse chronology is the key word in a chronological CV because it is meant to list down your recent latest jobs at the top and go to the bottom with your educational qualifications. So, a chronological CV is used by students and newly graduate people with limited work experience. It is also used by professionals who have a consistent career history without any gap years. So, it is important that chronological CV is either made by students or freshers or professionals who do not have any gap histories in their CV or in their work X. So chronological CV looks something like which gives your recent experiences on the top with years and you go down towards your education in the end. We see what does a chronological CV include. First, it includes your name and contact information at the top of the page as the header. Second, your work experience, including your responsibilities and accomplishments for each job you've held. So you can include this under one main category called work experience, which certainly is going to be on the top of the resume. Third, your education and certification. Your education certainly will come at the bottom because your recent experiences should be more about where you work unless you're a fresher, and your certifications, if any. Then you have your skills and hobbies. You can mention them, but not the generic skills that actually add something to your personality. Fifth, you have other activities or volunteer experiences that you might have contributed in. So, all these five elements together make a chronological CV. If any is missing, it does not count as a complete CV and would be incomplete information. Now, look at a sample of a chronological CV, and here is a sample of a mechanical engineer CV, and he's written it in a chronological sequence. But remember, the keyword is reverse chronology. So first we have his name, Aldo Newman. Then we have his designation or the profile that he fits into, which is a mechanical engineer. And then we have a brief three-line statement about what he feels or how does he suit into this profession. He says that practical and versatile mechanical engineer with significant experiences collaborating on troubleshooting processes. Then he's written professional history includes a variety of technical positions, ensuring a down to earth approach to project management. So, apart from what skills he possesses as a mechanical engineer, he has also mentioned certain skills that he possesses as a human. So, like we begin with keywords like practical, versatile, and then he's given a word like troubleshooting, which means someone who can solve problems quickly, and also words like down to earth approach. These are your key words in terms of establishing who you are and what your personality is like while working. So it is important for the reader to be conveyed to that this is what makes you you. Then we have your work experience. Like I said, you can include all your work experience under the subcategory of work experience. He's written mechanical engineer, tech USA, and then he's given a list of all the things that he was involved in while working there. Then he's given mechanical engineer, kinetic ceramics, and he's also given the dates to it. So it's important that your chronology in reverse order has the date and the year, from what span of time, from what period you began working in a certain company and when you ended. And then certainly he has given his certificates, then interests. Now your interest in a chronological CV or in any CV cannot be generic. It has to suit the requirements of the job as well, or maybe some association with the kind of profile you're looking for. So here is written astrophysics or electric vehicles, then artificial intelligence and renewable energy. All these interests are somewhere related to science and shows that this person has embodied his profession in his daily interests as well. Now, general skills he's given, like I said, there are certain keywords which attracts your potential employer, and he's given skills like time management, technical documentation, mathematics, communication, project management, leadership. All of these general skills will add to your resume because it will add something about you and how you will manage a certain job role. Then comes technical skills. He's given a list of all the technical skills he possesses. And lastly, the education part. So, education, because he's not a fresher, he's worked in so many companies over the period of time, his education comes in the bottom. So, this is how a chronological resume looks like. There's a pro tip that we've given you. It says that it may be smart to give a link to an online portfolio to show potential employers your best work. So in case you worked on any scientific experiments or certain scientific projects or simply discovery of something, it may be very smart if you give a link to these online portfolios of yourself in the beginning of the CV itself. So this is a sample of chronological resume. Now we move on. Functional CVs. Now what are functional CVs? By definition, a functional CV is sometimes called a skill-based resume also. Skill is the key word in a functional CV. It places the focus on your skills and areas of expertise rather than on the details of your work history. So the idea of a functional CV is to lay emphasis on the skills you have as a professional and the areas of expertise that are known to you. Who is it used by? It is used by creative professionals where portfolio is what matters the most, giving more creative space to showcase your talent in an application. So any graphic designer could be a creative professional whose portfolio matters the most. Portfolio becomes the links to his online work that he must have done over the years, and it gives more creative space to showcase the talent in the application. So skill based resume can be used by a creative professional. Then overqualified candidates. Now we have several candidates who are overqualified for a certain profile because of the myriad work experience they have in various fields of or professions. So for an overqualified candidate, a functional CV is the best kind of CV to be drafted because it focuses on the skills, and skills could be as many, and it helps them to show their skills and not their job experience. So the focus again would be skill sets. And as people in today's world they want managers. So multiple skill people possessing multiple skills are usually qualified for a job because they can manage multiple things at the same time. Then we have military resumes where military work experience is difficult for you to show because putting it down on paper is a little difficult. So you mainly focus on the skills you acquired while working as a military personnel. So since recruiters don't come across them as often, it is important that they focus only on their skill sets as an individual and as a professional. So this is functional CV used by three kinds of people: creative professionals, overqualified candidates, and military resumes. Now, what does a functional CV include? First, your contact information. Second, your educational qualification. Third, work or volunteer experience. Fourth, technical skills. Fifth, you can separate your skills into subcategories to make it easier to read. You may also want to consider including a brief summary. So what happens is, in a functional CV, all five elements are very important. How you present them is your call, because first your contact information, educational information is establishing your areas of interest first. Then your work experience, volunteer experience, your technical skills will be the main scanned through element on your resume, because that will show how you have evolved over the period of time with several skills. So for an overqualified candidate, certainly he will have umpteen number of skill sets, and he can actually crystallize them into a small brief summary of how and how many variety of fields he's been working in. So he can also include that in form of a resume summary. Now we come to a sample of a functional CV. On your right is a CV which is made under a functional category, and functional, like we've discussed, is a skill based CV. So we have the CV of Thomas Blumenthal, and he's a public relations specialist. On the left margin, if you see, the highlighted part mentions his personal information, the skill sets in software he possesses, and the languages he's fluent in. So these things in itself and the way he's presented it gives a clear indication as to what are his skills here itself, apart from his main skill sets as a professional. So these are the basic skills he possesses. Four kinds of languages he knows, and he understands softwares like Microsoft Office, Studio, and then WordPress, Adobe, and InDesign. So all of these give a detailed insight into what are his skills apart from the various skills he will possess or he will put down in his CV. Now, there's a small paragraph he's given which could be a skill summary like we discussed. It could be a small resume summary which you would want to give to your employer in order to give him a small gist of what his CV is about. So he's written results driven Penn graduate in journalism and social communication, seeking to leverage 2 years of internship and freelancing PR experience with Newton Software Communications team. Now this is a very specific functional CV, and like we see that he's mentioned the name of the company, the designations he's looking at, as it helps the employer to identify whether the person has researched well or not, and whether the person is actually aware of what role he is applying for. Then experienced in producing engaging online content. See my portfolio here. So like we said, you can give a link to your portfolio. And press releases for tech startups and local IT companies. Non-profit blogger at, again, the website of WordPress. Interested in new digital PR solutions, including automatization of customer relations and productivity, increase in generation leads, and in international digital and traditional media outlets. Now this is a brief summary to give you an insight what all skill sets he possesses. If the employer wishes to read the brief summary first, he will understand what the candidate is all about and whether they fit into the profession or not. So then he's given a skill summary under various subheads. Like we said, a functional CV would have the various skill sets that a person possesses. First, he talks about research, then he's good at writing, creativity, social media relations, and time management. One of the main aspects he's given is time management, which adds to how he is going to be a good manager at the same time. And lastly, he's given his experience, just the name and the designations, and also the years and education at the bottom. So this is what a functional CV looks like. It is to give your skill sets a highlight rather than describing the chronology of your work experience. Like we see, the experience is just listed at the bottom, the skill sets on the top. There's a pro tip for functional CV as well, which says that use compelling verbs to describe your skills and accomplishments. Words like achieved, led, directed, streamlined, or solved. And these words can, of course, be a part of your resume summary at the top, like we've just discussed, or giving all the keywords as to who you are as a person, while also what you have done while working in a certain field, maybe things that you have achieved, certain assignments that you've led and directed or streamlined or solved. So this becomes your functional CV. Now we come to combinational CV. Like we said, combinational CVs are a combination of two, functional CV and chronological CV. The definition goes that the combination CV format, also called a hybrid resume, combines the best features of a chronological resume and a skill-based resume. Who is it used by? It is used by seasoned professionals with very extensive work experience, way to emphasize their most impressive achievements. So someone who's not only overqualified, but they're seasoned professionals. That means they have worked over a good number of years and have extensive work experience. So they start listing down their most impressive achievements rather than listing down every detail. Then we have career changers, so people who haven't worked yet in a particular industry or in that target industry, but have otherwise developed key skills relevant to the job they're trying to land at. So career changers could be someone moving from hospitality to maybe a medical profession, HR moving from hospitality to a medical professional. So all of this could be a career changer for the person, although his skill sets remain the same, but where he is going to apply those skill sets is a new domain. Then employment gappers. Now we have to understand that like chronological CV was used by people who do not have gap years in their work. People who have gap years in their work can go for a combinational CV who have many years of relevant work experience with enough verifiable wins. They will be able to assure the recruiters that any potential gaps don't matter. So they are going to justify through their skill sets that the gaps that they might have taken during their employment or professional life, it is irrelevant because of the skill sets they possess. So that is combinational CV for you. Talk of what does a combinational CV include. First, it includes the name and contact information, where the CV header at the top of the page should be prominent and click through to your portfolio, social media profiles, and any other important links are provided. Then you have a summary, we've just talked about it, a concise story about what you bring to the table for this particular role, mentioning all your skill sets. Then relevant key skills, list your key skills that are relevant to the role you're applying for. Then work history, your past roles with responsibilities and accomplishments listed below each one. So all your work experience with the name of the company, the role you were involved in, then responsibility and the accomplishment that you have acquired during that professional space. Then you have your education. In your education section, you will list any degrees you have in reverse chronological order, like we've mentioned. Then lastly, you have additional skills and volunteer experience, awards, interests, or other sections as needed. So you can create one more additional section that is relevant to the role you are applying for, which can mention any kind of skill sets that you possess or any volunteer experience that you have been involved in, any awards that have been awarded to you, interests, or any other thing that you would want to mention as part of your combinational CV. Let us look at a sample of a combinational CV. What does it look like? So we have the CV of Christian Hybrid, who's the IT manager. First is given on the left margin, he's given his personal information, links to all his social media accounts and websites that he has. Then he has given his additional skills listed in form of Adobe, Photoshop, InDesign, then CRM platforms he's worked for, Google Analytics, he understands Google AdWords, and see how he's given the bars to it. So there's a certain rating that he's given to his level of understanding of his skill sets. Then you have languages, he knows Spanish and German. Then coming to the main resume, his skill summary is in form of bullets of various roles or various skills that he possesses. First programming and app development, then leadership, then business management. All of these will have a brief idea of how many years he's put into to acquire this particular skill set. Also, what kind of role he was involved in while he wanted to acquire these skill sets, or the reason that he's mentioned these skill sets. So he needs to validate the skill set by showing what kind of work he has been involved in. Secondly, we have experience. So in experience, he's listed, we've just talked about it, mentioned the company or the role you worked in. Then the bullets will display what kind of role you were involved in and what exactly was your professional expertise like, and the year or the span of time you worked in that particular company. So this is again in reverse chronological order. You begin with the last experience or the last professional experience where you've worked. Education in the bottom, mentioning your degrees and the years. So this is a combinational CV of Christian Hybrid, who's a IT manager. So we must understand that a combinational CV will have parts of chronological CV as well as functional CV. So functional becomes skill summaries and chronological becomes the experience the way he's listed in reverse chronology. Now we have a pro tip for a combinational CV, means just include keywords under subheads without further elaboration. So like we've shown you, there are bullets given to each skill set, and he's given certain keywords that the employer might be looking for while scanning through his CV. Like example, if you give a subhead like tech stack, so you need to give what all skills you have under this category of tech stack, which is you understand JavaScript, you understand CSS3 and many more. So this is a sample of a combinational CV for you. Come to the last type of CV, which is a targeted CV. By definition, it is tailored to a specific job opening, a highly focused CV aimed at a particular job, giving a capsule of your work experience. So, in a targeted CV, you only give your skill sets and your past work experience based on the job you're applying for. So that specific job opening becomes the basis of your targeted CV. So the keyword is specific to the job. A highly focused CV because it will only list the skill sets which are suitable for the job you are applying for, and it is aimed at a particular job which gives a capsule of your work experience. So it is a capsule of your work experience irrespective of how many years you've put in. You will only list what is required for that job opening. Who is it used by? When job target is specific or you need separate CVs for different career paths, used only by experienced professionals and not by freshers. So we must remember that a targeted CV is used by people who have given years of service in a particular profession, and they will have to list down their skills specific only to the job they are applying for and not their 40 or 30 years of experience. What does a targeted CV include? It includes your name and contact information, your profile, which is specific to the domain of the job you're applying for. So even if you worked as a HR manager for a hospitality wing, if you're applying for a say a military background, or say you're applying for some other designation for other role completely, you will have to specify your job domain only as the job opening offers. So example, it could be digital, it could be finance, it could be design, etc. Then your professional experience, only specific to the job role. You will mention only those experiences which you have acquired over a span of time, which are specific to the job role or the job opening you're applying for. Then your educational qualifications, this can be a complete list of everything that you have studied. And last, your specific skill sets which are best suitable for the job role. So you mention your specific skill sets which will work as a foundation for the job you're applying for. So this is targeted CV. Then there's a format of a targeted CV which simply, as shown on the right, we have a CV of a professional in finance, Susan, and she's mentioned her email ID and a LinkedIn profile link, while she's given a gist of the financial service profile. So if she's applying for a profession in finance, she's given a gist of only that financial service profile which she is good at or which she targets. So she's written accurate and highly productive financial services manager, experienced with leading multiple department teams, and also financial analysis projects meeting deadlines, extensive knowledge of corporate finance and asset management, capable project manager, adept at learning and using enterprise financial systems, and core skills she's listed further. Then she's given a professional experience, only listing how she's worked in certain financial service roles and in financial service companies where she's worked under so and so roles. So only listing those under professional experience, and lastly your education, and at the bottom you can mention your technical skills which gives an insight into what all things you're equipped with, or what all knowledge you possess in relation to the profession you're applying for. So this is a targeted CV, very concise, very specific to the job you're applying for, and only made or used by professionals in the industry. So if they're switching up to another industry, then also they will have to be very targeted and very specific in their CV. There's a pro tip for targeted CV, which is the application should be accompanied with a targeted cover letter by using words and phrases that match the job description and get the hiring manager's attention. Since you have a good number of years you've given into certain profession and acquiring certain skill set, writing about that in your cover letter or the email body before attaching your resume or CV to an email, your cover letter should mention those words and phrases so that the job description should be able to fit you into that role, and the hiring manager's attention is easily acquired by seeing all of your acquired skills and your years of experiences. So this is the last kind of CV, which is a targeted CV. And next we move on to do's and don'ts of CV writing. Now, this is very important. Either as a fresher or as a professional, you must follow these do's and don'ts. First, do's we'll focus on. Do's are things that you must do while preparing your CV. You should tailor your CV specific to the job role. It should be specific only to the role you're applying for. Use a clear, uncluttered layout. Now, as you've seen in the samples of various types of CVs, they are all clear, concise, uncluttered, no formatting errors, or everything is designed under a certain template, which you, of course, can use for yourself. Use positive language like power words. Power words are words like launched, managed, led, which which add to the positivity of your CV. Now you place important information up front. No information that is irrelevant should be a part of your CV. Only important information, and that too upfront. You begin with the important information so that it catches the attention of the employer. You give a brief description of the companies that you've worked for and your major achievements in bullet form. So always stick to bullet forms while giving your work experience in terms of the roles you've worked in, rather than giving paragraphs and lengthy statements. Put your name and email address on every page as either header or footer. Now this becomes important, as while the person is going through your CV, they're able to reconnect as to whose CV they are scanning through. This is important because the employer receives thousands of emails as job applicants keep shooting emails every day, and it becomes easier for them to remember, or it serves as a recall as to whose CV they are scanning through. Lastly, you should give references of ex-employers only when you're sure of their recommendations. References can be given when asked for otherwise. Now we come to the don'ts. So you must not include salary information and expectation in your CV or either in the cover letter. Secondly, you must not include information that may be viewed negatively, like giving unnecessary explanations for your failed exams or failed business ventures, etc. Don't use jargon, acronyms, technical terms unless essential. It is important that you keep your application and CV very simply in simple language, and avoid using jargons. You must not lie about any detail on your CV, as employers can always cross check your profiles that you send. The CV that you prepare and you send across to a certain employer is always cross checked, and you must not lie about any detail on your CV. Don't send your CV without proofreading. This is a must. All typos, bad grammar, and spelling mistakes are unacceptable because it leads to the employer losing interest in the CV itself. Then we have, don't include random hobbies like watching TV, browsing the internet, because these kind of hobbies do not add anything to the profiles you are applying for. You must include hobbies or interests, I would like to say, like astrophysics or any other interest like we've just discussed in the previous slides, as to which suit your profile or the general domain that you're working for. Don't allow yourself to get distracted. Always find a quiet place to work on your CV. This is important so that you're uncluttered in your head and you always focus on why you're working on a particular CV. So these are do's and don'ts of CV writing. Right. So now that we know what a CV is, it's time to shoot the job application, which comprises of one, the CV, which should not be more than 1 or 2 pages, and second, the cover letter. So your job application basically comprises of your cover letter, which is the email body that you write, which is not more than 5 paragraphs, brief paragraphs. That is the maximum limit, 5 paragraphs. It is a document sent with your resume to provide additional information about your skills and experience to an employer. This letter of application is intended to provide detailed information on why you are a qualified candidate for the job. So your cover letter has to have an attachment, which is the CV that you've just made. There's a pro tip that your application letter, your cover letter, should let the employer know what position you're applying for, what makes you a strong candidate, and why they should select you for an interview, and how you will follow up. So, the pro tip is to tell you that a job application's cover letter has to have these elements in order to make it a complete cover letter rather than providing any unnecessary information or the information which has already been elaborated in the CV. So you need not provide that information in the cover letter. You should focus on 3 elements, which is the position you're applying for. First, a brief introduction, the position you're applying for, what makes you a strong candidate for that position, and why they should select you for an interview, and how you would follow up. Have an email job application, what all does it include? First is the subject of your email should be to the point subject line. For example, you can write application for sales associate or administrative assistant job with your name. Only the subject line will help them refine your application further. So this is an important aspect. The subject line should be very precise and to the point. Second, you have the introduction, which should include an appropriate salutation. Salutation means writing dear hiring manager if you don't have the contact person's name, or if you're writing dear Mr. Smith, specific to the personnel who may be the HR manager or somebody else, followed by an introduction with your full name and why the applicant is writing. Third is the body, which discusses relevant qualifications. You mention why you're qualified for this job. Fourth is the closing sentence, which thanks the reader and ends with the formal closing words. Example, you can write best or best regards followed by your name. Next is your signature to end the letter with your contact details like mobile number or alternative email ID in case they are not able to reach you on that email ID as a reply. And lastly, don't forget to attach your CV. CV should be attached to the email in the form of a PDF, which is the best way to send your CVs across so that there are no format issues like in Word document. It might open in some other format on someone else's screen. So remember, the job application includes all 6 elements, and you cannot send an application without any of the above mentioned elements. Let us look at a sample cover letter. Here's a cover letter sent on an email. We have a screenshot of it. So first is the salutation as mentioned on the left hand side. Dear Mr. Kirkpatrick. Then he's writing, I'm writing to express my interest in the auditor position advertised on Capital University's job website. I will graduate from Capital University in May with a Bachelor of Arts degree in accounting. So see how he's mentioned the job role, specific job role that he's applying for. He's already mentioned that in the first line. Then he's also mentioned that what he is. He's a graduate. He will be a graduate in May with a bachelor's degree of arts in accounting. So he's also given a brief introduction to himself. Now comes to the email body. The second paragraph says, my background includes both accounting experience and leadership skills. During my junior and senior years at Capital, I worked as a student accountant in the university bookstore. In addition, I have held leadership position in student government and within the residence halls as a resident assistant. Please see my attached resume or CV for a more complete view of my background. Now see how his email body gives a deep and very brief insight into his experience as an accountant at the university bookstore, and also how he has worked in the accounting department while staying as a resident assistant. Now he's also mentioned, this line is very important as a part of your cover letter email, which says please see my attached resume or CV for a complete view of my background. So once you've established yourself, you attach your CV, and that line has to be mentioned in your cover letter. Lastly, I'm eager to learn about this opportunity with Ernst & Young, the name of the company, and look forward to interviewing with you. I can be reached at so and so number or the email ID. So what you do is you give a follow-up detail address. Thank you for your time and consideration. Lastly, your attachment. Please always check that you've given the attachment and you've also attached it and it is being displayed on the screen. And sincerely or best regards, best, any of these salutations followed by your signature, your mobile number right below your full name, and an alternative email ID. So that is how a sample cover letter looks like. With this, we come to the last slide of today's presentation, which is do's and don'ts of cover letters. This is an important aspect, and we must consider this even while beginning the application procedure, because the do's and don'ts will determine how you are going to draft your CV as well as your application cover letter. So let's begin with the do's. First is research on the employer and company first. Now it is important to do your research well. Your research should comprise of what industry you're looking at, what job role they're asking you to apply for, and what kind of company it is. All of this will help you make your cover letter, draft your cover letter in a certain fashion which is best suited for that particular company. Second is customize your cover letter specific to each company you're applying for. Now say there are multiple job openings in various companies. Please do not copy paste the same cover letter for each company. However, your CV remains the same in case the job application or the job role is similar, but each company will have separate name at least, and also their job, their kind of industry will be different. So you must be very unique in each of your cover letters. Third, talk about your essential skills. Your focus should be on selling your essential skill sets rather than giving detailed paragraphs about who you are and how you've been. It is important to focus on keywords, and so that your resume or your CV is scanned through right in the beginning, starting from the subject line. Be honest. There is no scope of lying in your CVs because you'll eventually be caught up. Secondly, we have an option of doing a peer review. So if you know someone who's already in the company, or say you know someone who's an expert in this particular profession, you must do a peer review of your draft with people of similar competencies like your employer. Lastly, incorporate keywords in your cover letter. It is important to incorporate those keywords like we just talked about, because it leaves an impact on the person who's reading it without taking much of his time. So focus on the keywords and skill sets. What you don't have to do, you must know about that also. Don't repeat the same things as on your resume or CV. You need not write in detail about the things mentioned in your CV, even in the cover letter. Because your CV is complete in itself, your cover letter has to be very crisp and catchy. Be a storyteller, catch the attention of your potential employee. That is what you have to do, and not repeat the same things on your resume. Don't have grammatical errors. That is a must. Always proofread. Don't make excuses for the skills you don't have. You don't have to talk about the skills you don't possess. Be sure of that. Don't use a template for cover letter. Like I said, do not copy paste a cover letter from anywhere else. Make it as original as possible. Make it as suitable to your requirements as possible. Don't make it too lengthy, as the employer has to go through several applications in a day. So making a crisp cover letter is mandatory, so that you grasp the attention of the employer right in the beginning. Don't forget to mention a call to action like follow-up date and mobile number. We've discussed about it. It is very important to mention where they can reach you out in case your application is shortlisted. so that you can be called for an interview and further procedures. So these were the do's and don'ts of cover letters. Now you're all set to launch yourself in the job market. So I hope this lesson was fruitful and you make the best of this lecture.